Okay, so in the last video we looked at what factors were and how you found the different factors of numbers. And in this video we're going to be looking at how do you know if numbers are factors of other numbers if they're really big numbers, like 623. How do I know if 3 goes into it or 4 goes into it? And we'll be seeing how we actually find that. Before we get started though, one thing we need to know is if we're looking at factors up here, factors are related to something we call divisors. We think of divisors when we're thinking of division. So if I were to ask, is 6 a factor of 24? I'm asking, is 6 going to go, can I multiply 6 by something to get 24? But that's the same thing as asking, is 24 divisible by 6? So is 6 a factor of 24 or is 24 divisible by 6? You're asking the same thing. And that is, will 6 go into 24 evenly without any remainders? So let's see how we could look at not only 6 or looking at 4 or 6, 24, but we're going to be looking at something called divisibility rules. And so like for example, the divisibility rule for number 2. If we want to know if the number 2 will go into whatever number we're talking about, we have a rule for it. If the number is even, then even numbers are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and if it's in the ones place. So if I had the number 438, all I do is look at the ones place, and if I have an even number, then I know 2 will go into it. 2 is a factor of 438, or 438 is divisible by 2, okay? Number 3, if I want to know if the number 3 will go into another number, the way I can do it is to add up all the individual numbers and then see if that number is divisible by 3. So this example right here is 621. I take the 6 and the 2 and the 1 and I add them together. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Now, will 3 go into 9? If 3 does go into 9, that means 3 will also go into 621. Let's try the number 4,316. Is 4,316 divisible by 3? Will 3 go into 4,316? Now I could go like this, then do 3, and then just go all the way through and see if there's any remainders. But a quick way to do it is 4 plus 3. I'm going to add each one of these numbers up. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8, plus 6, 8 plus 6 is 14. Now, will 3 go into 14? Is 14 divisible by 3? Is 3 a factor of 14? No. 3 is a factor of 15, but not 14. So 4,316 is not divisible by 3. So I don't even have to finish this problem of dividing by 3. If it was, then I could go through and find out how many times 3 went in. Go ahead and write these divisibility rules down to help you remember, and you can refer back to them every time. The number 4, if I want to find out if a number is divisible by 4, I just look at the last 2 digits of that number. And if those last 2 digits are divisible by 4, then that whole thing is divisible by 4. So in the example was 132. All I do is look at the last 2 digits, 32. Is 32 divisible by 4? Yeah, 4 goes into 32 8 times. So 132 is divisible by 4. Let's try a bigger number. 4,212. If I look at the last 2 numbers, if I'm trying to find out if it's divisible by 4, look at the last 2 numbers, 12. Will 4 go into 12? Yeah, 4 will go into 12, so I know 4 will go into 4,212. And if I actually wanted to find out how many times, I would just divide. 4 goes into 4 once, minus 4, 0, bring down the 2. Doesn't go into 2, minus 0, bring down the 2. 21, how many times will 4 go into 21? It goes in 5 times, that goes into 20, and then it gives me down. 12, how many times will 4 go into 12? 3, and then 3 times 4 is minus 12, no remainder. So 1,053 times 4 will go into 4,212, 1,053 times. So let's see what our next divisibility rule is. Number 5, okay? If I want to find out if a number is divisible by 5, all I do is look at the last digit. If the last digit is a 0 or a 5, that whole number is divisible by 5. 5 is a factor of that number. So if I look at 29,438, I look at the last number. Is it a 5 or a 0? No. So 5 is not a factor or factor. It's not divisible by 5. But if I looked at 1,322,400 410 is the last number 0 or 5? Yes. This number right here is divisible by 5. That means 5 will go into that number. If I do the division, I won't have a remainder, and that's what I'm shooting for. Number 6. If I want to find out if a number is divisible by 6, this one's the one that takes a few more steps. I have to see if it's divisible by 2 and if it's divisible by 3. So that means the last number has to be even, and if I add up all the numbers, 3 has to go into it. So their example is 132. 132. If I look at the last digit, it is even. So I know 2 will go into it. And if I say 1 plus 3 plus 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that gives me 6. 3 will go into 6. Okay? So that means 132 is divisible by 6. That makes us happy because it is divisible. Okay? Let's see a different number, 471. We'll already know that 2 won't go into that one, so that one's not divisible by 6 because it's not divisible by 2. What about 472? 2 will go into it. What's 7 plus 4 plus 7? That gives me 11 plus 2. That gives me 13. 4 plus 7 plus 2 equals 13. Will 3 go into 13? No. So that means 472 is not divisible by 6 because it has to be divisible by both 2 and by 3 to be divisible by 6. All right, just a couple more. 9. If a number is divisible by 9, that means the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. In this explanation, they had 621, and they had 6 plus 2 plus 1, which was 9. Let's try 587. Okay, so 5 plus 8 plus 7. What's 5 plus 8? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 plus 7 equals 20. Does 9 go into 20? Is 20 divisible by 9? No. So 587 is not divisible by 9. But if I had 585, let's see, 5 and 5 gives me 10. 10 plus 8, that gives me 18. So if I add all these, that gives me 18 equals 18. 9 will go into 18. That means 9 will go into 585. 585 is divisible by 9 because I added them up, and the number that I got was divisible by 9. And our final one is probably our easiest one, 10. Is a number divisible by 10? 490. If it ends in 0, it is. That means it is divisible by 10. 999 does not end in 0, not divisible by 10. Okay, those are your divisibility rules. Check out the Khan Academy practice. There'll be some big numbers, but just follow the rules and then test it out and see how it works. Message me or your teacher if you have any questions.